This is this is your board president, Minister Wasim Muhammad. Welcome and good evening. Welcome to our monthly advisory board meeting. We want to take a quick moment to remind families that translation is available by calling the number provided on the screen, 602-580-9234. Access code 382-5077. That's once again at 602-580-9234. Access code 3825077. General Counsel.
Thank you, Board President. We want to also take this opportunity to quickly remind our Facebook Live viewers to be mindful in our live stream comment section. Although we understand your frustration at times, we also have to remember that there are students watching the live stream and reading the comments. As such, it is very important as adults that we carry ourselves as leaders. Please note that if you have any questions, comments, or concerns while the board meeting is in progress, we recommend that you visit our website to fill out the Family Instructional Survey. Once the survey is completed, we will get back to you in a timely manner to address your concerns. In addition, to make an official public comment via phone or in writing, you may sign up on the district's website prior to the start of the meeting. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. And I will turn it back over to the board president to open the meeting.
Yes, thank you, General Counsel. Indeed. The regular notice requirements of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act has been complied with in that adequate advance notice of this meeting was given at least 48 hours in advance. On March 20th, 2020, notice was mailed to the Carrier Post and the Philadelphia Inquirer. At this moment, we request that all prepare for the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag will be shown on the screen.
I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for
for which it stands,
one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice.
justice for all.
Thank you very much. We request roll call, please.
Thank you. When I call your name, please respond present. Ms. Teresa Atwood. Mr. Elton Custis.
Present.
Ms. Naima Gillespie.
Present.
Mr. Falio Leyva Martinez.
Present.
Ms. Karen Merricks. President Wasim Muhammad.
Present.
Vice President Nanamdi Nelson.
Present.
Ms. Carmen Otero. And Ms. Yolanda Whidbey has an excused absence this evening. The board will now go into closed session to discuss matters of the following nature: attorney-client privilege and personnel. At this time, I call for a motion to go into closed session. Do I have a motion?
Motion to go into close.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a motion to go into closed session was made by Mr. Elton Custis, and a second was made by Naima Gillespie. All in favor of going into closed session, please say aye.
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 All right, those opposed, please say no. All right, we are now in closed session and we'll be returning in approximately 30 minutes. That will be at 6:15 p.m. We will be turning off the Facebook Live feed while we are in closed session. Thank you.
So unmute. Okay. Okay. Share screen. Is that it or no? Breakout room. It says break. It says breakout room. Yeah, I don't see anything that says accept on here. Um.
All right, at this time, I call for a motion to come out of closed session. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Right. Motion to come out of closed session was made by Mr. Folio Leyva Martinez, and a second was made by Mr. Elton Custis. All in favor of coming out of closed session, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. All right, we are now out of closed session.
All right, want to thank everyone. At this time, we're going to move into our superintendent's presentation. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our virtual October regular advisory board meeting. We're going to dive right into our agenda. And as you can see, as we have been consistent, we want to provide an update to the advisory board as well as the public on our progress with regard to our 4 key priority areas: accelerating student achievement, a great teacher in every classroom, great staff in every role, safe schools built for 21st century success, and our 4th priority, financially responsible and fiscally sustainable. And so in the area of accelerating student achievement, last month we started the school year, and I shared with you at the last board meeting some of our core characteristics of remote learning. And I want to just make sure that we take the opportunity to take a look at these again. I know it's repetitive, but I want to make sure we're building the appropriate muscle memory and that also our communication is clear so that we're all working together, schools, families, to support our students during this remote learning period. And so just as a reminder, the first characteristic, start times and length of day. We begin our start times from 9 a.m. for high schools and 9:15 for our family schools. And we want to make sure that everyone is in position and in place for this remote instruction. After 1:15 p.m., and it might vary, some schools go to 1:30 because they have longer breaks for lunch. Students may work on asynchronous independent work, sometimes guided by teacher videos or curricular programs, or work in small groups with teachers before the day ends. And so again, we're making sure that instructionally, we're meeting the needs of our students. The second characteristic, the format of instruction. It's very important, and we know this as educators, and it's very important for our young people to have experience in whole group instruction, small group instruction, and independent work, even during the remote learning process. So again, just like in-person learning, there is a mix of all 3 group sizes. For example, if a 5th grade or even an 11th grade student has 60 minutes of math, it's expected that they will experience direct whole instruction from the teacher, work in small groups with their peers, with the teacher just popping in and monitoring progress for support, and then independent practice of their work, which may also continue in the asynchronous time after that 1:15, 1:30 time frame. And finally, the third characteristic, I'll keep underscoring this over and over and over again, Friday is a school day. Friday is a school day. Lots of independent instructional work, asynchronous learning is done, makeup work is done throughout the week, and also small group and individual one-on-one teacher instruction occurs on Friday. So again, we just want to make sure that we're emphasizing these characteristics. Next slide. And so in addition, there are 3 critical pillars that are so very important to ensure the success of our remote learning program. First characteristic is attendance, as I alluded to in the previous slide. It is important that all of our high school students are logged on and ready to begin at 9 a.m. and our K through 8th grade students are ready at 9:15. It is critically important that our attendance rates continue to go up. Second characteristic, technology. I know this is an area that we have been working diligently on, and there is another slide, so I'll get more into detail when I talk about technology, but we want to make sure that if you are experiencing any technology difficulties, that you reach out to the number here, call 833-778-0035. That is our Mind Shift support. You can also call the Solution Center, and you can also call your school leader, guidance counselor, or family operations coordinator. Again, this is a team effort, and we want to make sure that no one is slipping through the cracks when it comes to making sure their technology needs have been identified. And again, I will follow up on technology in a later slide. And the third aspect, in addition to daily attendance and technology, is ensuring that our students stay on track. The only way our students are going to stay on track, young people, if you're watching, the only way you are going to stay on track is if you are always engaged in the learning, even remotely. If you are engaged in the learning, it will pay off for you and you will be able to see the results in your academic performance and outcomes. So again, just want to remind us and ground us in these three pillars. While we're in this remote learning situation, we want to continue to work to iron out any wrinkles, but to continue to underscore and magnify those areas that are working so that we can continue to support our students in their learning. Next slide. And so we also understand that parenting and also partnering for success with your child's school during the pandemic is no easy task. But I want to say that I am a proud superintendent when I say this. Advisory board, I need to let you know, our families, and you know this, are phenomenal. They have been taking advantage of the professional development opportunities that we have been providing for our families, because we know in order for our students to excel during this very unprecedented time with remote instruction, we need to make sure home and school are working together. And that can only occur if we share with our families what is necessary for them to be able to support their students in the learning. And so this slide just says it all. Some of the topics to date are listed there: Google Classroom Basics, attendance for remote learning, adult basic education, school-based youth services remains in operation, supporting the social emotional health of our young people and families, and then college and career readiness. These sessions have reached over 1,100 Facebook viewers weekly and have been instrumental in connecting families to the supports and resources they need to navigate these challenging times. And if you take a look at the bottom, you'll see some of the workshops that are coming up soon. And these workshops are held, live sessions happen every week on Wednesdays at 12 noon. Every Wednesday, 12 noon, our team is leading, engaging professional development, incorporating school leaders, other resources from the community in order to support our families at this time. We will be looking at other time slots because we know that all of our families, our parents are not able to make the 12 noon time slot, especially if they are working. So again, we're going to look at other times so that we can meet the needs of the varying needs of our families. But hats off to the team for making sure that we are two-pronged in our approach to accelerating achievement, family focused as well as student focused. Next slide. And to continue, during this time of virtual learning, we know that sometimes college career readiness efforts may slide, but in the Camden City School District, we are using every virtual platform possible to make sure that our students are still getting the support that they need in order to be ready for college, careers, and life, and prepared to pursue the future of their choosing. And so research states that by 2020, 65% of all jobs and 92% of traditional STEM jobs will require post-secondary education and training. College and career-ready graduates should be able to enter and succeed in entry-level post-secondary courses without the need for remediation, and specifically should have mastery of rigorous knowledge and skills in core academic disciplines. The skills and dispositions necessary to be successful in charting their post-secondary path and have successfully participated in post-secondary opportunities. So again, you see here some of the college career readiness platforms that we are using. First, Naviance. Naviance is being used in a broader way in the district this year. Naviance is a college and career readiness platform that our professional school counselors use to provide students with activities focused on academic planning, college readiness, and career exploration in an attempt to increase academic achievement and college access. Second, our college and career consultations will provide families with guidance and technical support with filling out the FAFSA, all that financial aid information, the New Jersey FAMS, and also post-secondary applications. And third, we also are hosting virtual college and career conversations series aimed to help high school students explore their interests and learn more about the types of majors or careers they may want to pursue. So again, the goal of this series is to set up our scholars with resources that can help them identify the characteristics of careers that best fit them. And that is so very, very critically important. Dates for the consultations and conversations are subject to change due to the pandemic, but we will make sure there are there's appropriate communication if there is any deviation from the schedule. The Office of Student Supports and school guidance counselors will continue to keep students abreast on all the necessary information. And we are very grateful for those teams working together to ensure our students are set up for success. Next slide. We are making a shift. So parent-teacher conferences, I know we remember the conferences that we grew up with, where you sign up for a time slot, maybe it was 15 or 20 minutes. You had a chance to see your child's report card. The teacher may have said a few things, given you a tour around the room, and that was it. But the Office of Student Supports has been working over the past few years. I know under the work and leadership of Ms. Ebony Henson in this specific area with transforming our parent-teacher conferences in our schools so that they fit the academic parent-teacher teams model. And so this slide is just a plug and a reminder that our family school APTT conferences will be held November 23rd and April 26th from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock p.m. And our high schools will have the same November 16th through the 24th, and also during the week of April 19th through the 27th. And what stands out most about the APTT model is that it is very data-driven. Conversations are held to empower parents to be able to look at multiple indicators of success for their students so that the teacher and parent can work together in order to develop a plan of action to increase any concerning areas with regard to performance. Goal setting is critical in this process, and these individual meetings are also critical. So again, we are looking forward to the shift that's occurring as we continue to broaden the APTT parent-teacher conference direction. Next slide. And so again, one more plug for November 23rd, K through 8 will be our next APTT conference, and then our high schools November 16th through the 24th. And so we'll move right into our third priority area, safe schools built for 21st century success. And our next slide, the new Camden High School campus. As your superintendent, what I want to do is to make sure that from this point forward at every board meeting, we're providing an update on the plans for the new Camden High School campus that will be opening up as a traditional public school, where we will be bringing together, and you see the logos there, Brim Medical Arts, Creative Arts, Big Picture Learning Academy, and Camden High School together in one campus, but having their unique autonomous spaces and identities within that campus. And so I'm happy to report that the new Camden High School campus project is proceeding on schedule. The pandemic has not gotten in the way of the construction being able to move forward. And it is approaching exciting milestones in its development. It is hard to believe that we will be moving into this brand new state-of-the-art school building in just 10 short months. The construction project will reach its substantial completion at the end of June 2021. This is the most important milestone in any construction project. It is a time at which the respective high school academies can begin their physical transition and preparation for September 2021. So we're looking forward to June so we can get in there, ready the environments so that on day one, September 2021, the new Camden High School will be open and we will be moving forward with that new school. For this to be possible, a more recent milestone had to be passed and achieved, which was the completion of the building envelope. This is important because it allows construction to continue on the interior of the building during the winter months, keeping the project on schedule. So everything again is moving right along. On the district side of the project, staff at all levels and from almost every department have a critical role in preparing for this exciting transition in September. For example, the operations and finance teams are developing the fit out and operating budgets for opening and running the campus. Principals and school support staff are coordinating the logistics of moving individual academies into the building, and instructional teams are fine-tuning the curriculum in each academy with concentrations on college and career pathways, in addition to the special focal areas of each individual school that will occupy the new Camden High School campus. So again, as we continue to approach the substantial completion date of this beautiful, magnificent new high school campus, we will continue to keep you updated with the work and the planning around this exciting next step in the history of the Camden City School District. So again, please look for more information. And we want to make sure that we're able to share that information, not only here at board meetings, but also to begin our marketing strategy so that we will be able to ensure that all of our families know, especially our rising ninth graders, the options that are available in this new building: vocational options, college and career readiness options, performing arts options. It is going to be second to none. And so we're looking forward to this exciting project. Next slide. Right along the same vein, Safe Schools Built for 21st Century. As you can see from these pictures, the shining floors, individuals on ladders, on the mowing lawns. We are still maintaining and taking care of our buildings and facilities during this remote period. And so throughout this remote learning experience, we know and see also that school leaders, teachers, paraprofessionals, support staff, and students are certainly the families are working day in and day out to maximize our students' learning. In the background, our custodial and maintenance staff have been working every day to make sure our buildings are ready for us when we're able to safely return back to school. This fall, our custodial teams have even been tackling cross-functional projects to ensure that students and staff come back to buildings that are cleaner, more beautiful, and safer than when we left them. This is critical, and making sure schoolyards, fields are tended to, floors are spotless, doors are adjusted and repainted is a part of this work. This day-to-day work is so often unseen, so a hearty appreciation and thank you to this group of workers, our custodial staff, who are working diligently to make sure that our buildings, you see them, they're looking great. So we will continue to update you on the progress of our buildings as we continue to move forward. Next slide. Breaking news from the Office of Safety and Security. On October 9th, the Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, awarded a $750,000 Stop School Violence grant to Camden City School District. The Office of Safety and Security will partner with Camden County Police Department, the Lincoln Center, to train staff members in restorative justice practices, anti-bullying, and trauma-informed care. The Lincoln Center will help develop and train several threat assessment teams in the Virginia Student Threat Assessment Model. The training will equip staff with the knowledge to determine if a threat is substantive or if it is transient. These trainings will help restore relationships and prevent acts of violence. We are grateful for this wonderful opportunity, and thanks to all who worked diligently to obtain this grant. Shout out to our business office and Dr. Karen Campbell, to Terry Allen, to everyone. I don't want to name names, but I know they were two who were at the forefront of helping to secure this grant. And we have even been acknowledged by the Department of Education for receiving this grant, because this is something that the district sought after independently. So again, we are looking forward not only to the funds, but also the work that will be put in place to ensure safety remains a priority in all of our buildings. Next slide. And so I want to talk to you, as promised earlier in the presentation, and we're almost done, about technology and provide you with some updates with regard to where we stand in our technology distribution efforts. The Office of Information Technology is focused on closing the digital divide for our students. We have been since March, and they remain focused in that area. In this effort, we are happy to announce that all back-ordered Chromebooks are expected to arrive by mid-November. So Tiffany Godette has been working very diligently, our Senior Manager of Technology, with Dell to move that date up. We had been given a date of November 30th. Now we're looking at mid-November, and we are badgering them every day to see if there's any way to expedite the delivery of the 550 Chromebooks that are already purchased, that have already been ordered. And so we're looking forward to receiving that. Our IT team and Mindshift continue to focus on getting devices to our newest CCSD students and those that never received a device in the spring. Once that need has been satisfied, we will continue providing devices to students that have broken devices as well. In addition, our IT team is working in our buildings to improve our infrastructure as we prepare for the reopening of schools. New wireless access points are being installed to enhance and extend internet connectivity to make sure all of our students can have consistent and secure access to the web. So again, we will continue to keep the board updated. We will continue to keep the public updated on where we are with regard to completely closing the digital divide. I do want to make another plea here because even though we have devices that are on back order, I mentioned there are 550 devices that we are still waiting for. we do have devices, almost 180 devices that we have in stock. Those devices, we have been reaching out to families in order to get someone to come to pick up the device for students who need one, or we have been delivering, our FOCs have been delivering devices as well to students' homes. So if you are watching tonight, this board meeting, and if you are a parent that we have reached out to and contacted, please reach back out to us so that we can make arrangements for you to get the devices that are needed. Even if you can't make it to the distribution location, we can bring it to you. It is very important. And again, I can't stress that enough. The devices that we have in our stockpile need to be in the hands of students. We need your help, family members, to make sure that when we're reaching out, we will be able to connect with you and however, whatever works best for the family, get those devices into students' hands. We also have hotspots that have been given to family operations coordinators so that as parents express a necessity for, internet access, maybe their coverage plan isn't working anymore as it was, we have hotspots that we can just give out. So again, I want us to work together, because even though we are waiting for some devices to come in, we have devices that we can give, and we want to connect with our families and get rid of any barrier that gets in the way of doing so. So my team has been working together. We talked about this again this morning in cabinet, and we will continue to do everything in our power to get these devices into the hands of our young people. Any individual who does not have a device, they are still being provided with instruction in ways that are through cell phone, hard copy packets, telephone. But that we know that the primary way we want instruction to occur is through technology. Last point, 92% of our students in the district have devices. That 8% is what concerns me. And so if we work together, I believe that we can eliminate that number. It's not due to a lack of money. It's not due to a lack of philanthropy. It's due to waiting on a back order and also connecting with at least 180 parents to get those devices to students. Thank you so much for your for meeting us so that we can work together to solve this. Next slide. Just want to highlight that since we have been in a remote phase, even back in March, we have had uninterrupted meal service to our students and our families in the community. So a special hats off to Ms. Arlethea Brown and the team, the nutrition team, for really working diligently to make sure that that has happened. We also want to thank our partners, both internal and external, for supporting our school meals initiative. Special shout out to Aramark, American Dairy Association, Northeast, NFL Fuel Up to Play 60, the Philadelphia Eagles, Campbell's Soup Company. We are serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and locally grown produce through our fresh fruit and vegetable program, with pickup distribution on Tuesdays and Thursdays and deliveries on Wednesdays and Fridays. So again, we want to nourish the whole child. Next slide. Family fun on a lighter note. November 26th is our scheduled annual Turkey Bowl between Camden High School and Woodrow Wilson. We know that November is quickly approaching. For us, that means, we're excited about the annual turkey game. Per NJSIAA guidelines, only 500 tickets will be distributed. 200 for the visiting team, which this year will be Woodrow Wilson, and 300 for Camden High School. Tickets will be distributed to players, cheerleaders, band members, coaches, and district staff. If you are not in one of these groups, and that's a limited number of district staff, if you're not in one of these groups listed, please note that you cannot come to the game. And that is for health and safety reasons, and because we have to be compliant with the NJSIAA guidelines. We ask that you remain at home and view the game. from the comfort of your home, as it will be live streamed on our district Facebook page, as all of our games have been live streamed this season. And also with the pandemic, there will be no tailgating. We know typically we have the opportunity to tailgate, and it's a very festive time at the turkey game, but we will not be able to have tailgating this year. Remember to keep the comments on the live stream clean. I'm going to say that one more time. Remember to keep the comments on the live stream during our football games clean. And let's support our youth by cheering them on. It's very disheartening to see negative comments about our young scholar athletes. Remember, they are still developing and they have feelings too. And even though there's room for everyone to grow, we still want to make sure that we as a community are not doing anything or saying anything that's going to tear down our young people. We want to edify them in every area. So please, we're watching. We are watching the comments. And moving right into our district highlights very quickly. I'm sorry, before we go to district highlights, our fourth priority, financial responsibility and fiscal sustainability. Want to make sure that we update the board and the public on where we are with regard to our business office transitions and transformation. Last month, I shared that we have an interim SBA, Ms. Margaret McDonald, who has been working along with our highly skilled professional, Mr. Mike Azara from the Department of Education, to ensure that we are staying on track and our numbers are the only thing I can say are clean and reliable when it comes to the oversight of our district's finances. And so they have been doing a wonderful job along with the business office in making sure that everything keeps flowing in every operation with regard to the business office. So I want to just share with you a few transitions and just some updates on where we are now. So I shared with you that we're continuing to work with our SBA and highly skilled professional to make sure that we have provided the Department of Education with exactly where we are with regard to our numbers. We've had several meetings with the department and the relationship has been getting better and better, and they are more and more confident in where we are as a district, which is step one. We are in the process of hiring a new school business administrator, but we're in the interview process. So we are interviewing and we hope to be able before the next board meeting to share who that new SBA candidate is. We have not made an offer to anyone yet. We're still in the interviewing and vetting process. And then after we hire the school business administrator, then we will go right into hiring our assistant business administrators. Those applications have already been collected. That position has been posted for a number of days, and we are ready to move right into filling the gap of the new assistant business administrator by December 1st so that we can round out our business office team. We also have two other positions that are available for applications, a senior manager of auditing and a senior manager of budget and analytics. And so just want to keep everyone informed that we are transforming our business office and we have to have transformed leadership in order to make sure that any progress is sustainable. We will keep you updated. Next slide. In the same category, with regard to financial responsibility, fiscal sustainability, you see yellow school buses here. And as this priority calls out, we are always seeking to be financially responsible and ensure our fiscal sustainability. As many of you know, we have seen significant upticks in expenditures on student transportation over the past several years, some of which has been due to the regional and national shortage of available licensed bus drivers. When there are less drivers, it means there are less available buses, and that means bus company prices go up. One step to greater financial sustainability is bringing the planning and contracting services in-house rather than paying an additional fee for a third party to do so. Over the past several years, the Camden County Educational Services Commission has been a tremendous partner in our transportation efforts. while we lacked the in-house capacity to take on these services. Working with the commission this fall, we will gradually take on the routing and contracting of our bus route vendors, starting with our own CCSD schools. This is a gradual transition, so we believe it places us in a stronger position to build efficiencies in our routing and provide higher level customer service to students and their families. So to be clear, this does not mean we are hiring our own drivers or buying our own buses yet. However, by bringing part of this service in-house, it better positions us to take that step if and when it shows that avenue could be financially viable. And we're seeing prospects that show just that. So again, we will keep you updated, but just wanted to make sure you were aware of that shift in operations when it comes to transportation. And last slide, before we do our quick district highlights, this slide is very, very important. I have shared before that we are in the process of our long-term comprehensive school planning. And this process is very critical because it will be the process that helps us to set the district up, the traditional school district up, for sustainability moving forward. And so, as you know, our process for school planning, our long-term comprehensive process, is happening, and the committee has met at least twice now, with a third meeting happening this week. I want to take this time to invite everyone to join us Tuesday, November 10th, for our community input forum. That's Tuesday, November 10th, from 5 to 8. This is open to the public. The Community Input Forum is the committee's chance to showcase all the work they have been deliberating on over the past few weeks, and more specifically, to just present options to date. However, more importantly, the Community Input Forum is your opportunity as community members to give feedback on the planning process and also to answer any questions you may have about the process. So save the date again, Tuesday, November 10th. You do have to register to attend, only so that we can provide the Zoom link, but anyone who wants to attend can attend. So please visit the district website to get the registration link and sign up. We will also post this on our district's Facebook page. I believe it's already posted, as a matter of fact. So please, community members and those individuals watching the meeting, help to spread the word. Again, we're not doing anything in a vacuum. We're doing nothing in secret. We are trying to make sure that this long-term planning process is inviting. It's not perfect, but during this time of remote learning, we still want to make sure that we're hearing voices and getting input, so that as we determine our financial course as a district and the number of buildings that we can afford to operate, it's not a top-down dictated situation, but there has been input on many different levels in order to arrive at that decision, because at the heart of this decision-making is not what I want, it's not what you want, it's not what anybody else wants. It should be based on what's best for our students and what they need in order to succeed as they move forward. I need your help and your input. Please let your voices be heard on the front end. Okay, and finally, district highlights. Annual preschool night. I had a chance to pop into our annual preschool night, and it was absolutely wonderful. On Wednesday, October 21st, the Office of Early Childhood hosted its annual preschool night. However, this year was different in that it was our first ever virtual preschool night. The theme was powerful preschool partnerships, and our families had the opportunity to experience a variety of engaging workshops presented by early childhood teachers and staff. Topics included music and rhythm, using high quality learning materials, practicing remote learning etiquette, establishing consistent routines, and supporting the social emotional health of preschool children. The 62 participants were involved in a scavenger hunt that helped them to identify simple household items that could be used to develop preschool skills, and answered questions about topics discussed during the evening to escape the breakout room. Through these fun, informative, and interactive sessions, 19 families were the recipients of educational materials they can now use to further support their children's learning at home. These materials were personally delivered to each family by the early childhood staff members on Friday, October 23rd. There is no early childhood team like the Camden City School District early childhood team. It was definitely wonderful. Next highlight, who doesn't love pizza? Our Fall Boost program, the Camden City School District, in collaboration with Bell Excel, launched Scholastic Extended Learning powered by Bell Excel. After-school programming is offered to all kindergarten through 8th grade students virtually. Students participate in academic enrichment, physical fitness, and social emotional learning activities daily. Did you know that Fall Boost after-school participants receive weekly participation and attendance prizes? This week, 15 students were recognized as the Student of the Week and received a special delivery from the Fall Boost team. And you see them with their special delivery in their hands. Sign up today on our website. And this is fun, but these are just fun ways to motivate our students, because this Fall Boost program is designed to do just that. Ensure that any learning loss that occurred because of lack of technology prior or COVID-19 pandemic-related issues, that we're able to close those gaps. So we want to have optimal and maximum participation. Next slide is just another highlight. We had also, as a way to attract attention, positive attention to the Fall Boost program, a carnival. It was held at various locations. It was held in a way that made sure that everyone wore masks, were definitely in compliance with social distancing, ensuring that our families could have a fun time learning about the Fall Boost program, and it helped to boost our enrollment. So thank you to the team, school support, for leading this effort, and all those who worked with you. Next slide. Mission 6,000 books to Camden students. The Camden City School District and the Cherry Hill nonprofit organization Book Smiles gave out 6,000 books to Camden students. The book sites were located where the school district has continued to offer free meals to students in need during the global pandemic, regardless of school type. This is a way to allow them to bring books home and get a chance to do so with their family. So we know that building at-home libraries is so critical to ensuring that our students are developing the vocabulary necessary to be lifelong learners and readers. And so this partnership will continue to help us to do just that. So thank you again for the organizers of this effort. And the last slide before I turn it over to our board president or his designee to read off our retirees. Voting. There are only 7 days left to vote. We want to continue to spread the importance about voting. Your vote matters. Your voice matters. Be sure that you cast your vote on or before November 3rd. The deadline to request an absentee ballot has passed. However, that should not matter. We strongly encourage everyone to exercise their right to vote. And just a few quick reminders, and this information can be found on the newjersey.gov website, also our Camden County website. Just want to make sure we're reminding not only families, our parents, but students who are of voting age, that there are several ways to vote. First, you can vote by mail, but it must be postmarked before November 3rd and received by the County Board of Elections on or before November 10th. Second way you can have your voice heard, secure ballot drop boxes. You can drop your ballots in those by 8 p.m. on November 3rd. Third way, Board of Elections office. You can deliver your ballot in person to the County Board of Election office by 8 o'clock on November 3rd, 8 o'clock p.m. on November 3rd. And finally, polling places, you can bring your ballot to your polling place by 8 p.m. on Election Day, November 3rd. Remember, only you, the voter, can bring your ballot to the polling place on Election Day and their paper ballots. So again, we want to make sure that you're still also conscious of social distancing, wearing masks, and protecting yourselves even as you cast your vote in whatever manner you decide to. And so again, your vote matters. And we wanted to end this presentation just by making sure that everyone remembers to express your civic duty. It is tied to education because the decisions that are made in the federal government in Washington impact what happens to us here in Camden and our educational outcomes. So thank you so very much for your attention during that presentation. And before I kick it over, the next slide, I want to just remind everyone our next board meeting will be held November 24th. If you are interested in signing up to speak at our next board meeting, please don't hesitate to visit our website at www.camden.k12.nj.us. Please note the sign-up sheet will be available 24 hours prior to the meeting and will close 30 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. So again, your voice matters. Your voice is important. Please use the vehicles that we have provided in order to make sure your voice is heard. Thank you very much. I'll turn it over this time to our board president or his designee.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. We will have Folly Olivia Martinez to read our retirees.
Thank you, Board President. And I want to take the time to congratulate all these folks for their years of service. Our first person here is Eric Lewis Jr., custodian A1 with 27 years. Second person is Juanita Matias, teacher of special education, 20 years. And the last person is Douglas Overton, teacher drama, 20 years. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you, and we'll turn it over to the counselor.
Thank you. The Camden City School District welcomes the attendance and comments from all members of the public at the advisory board meetings, including virtual board meetings. This public comment period is your time to be heard on the agenda during the meeting. Please be advised that comments made through any other medium, including on the Facebook Live feed, are not considered part of the official public comment. Each person who signed up to comment will have 3 minutes. This time applies to both verbal and written comments. You will be notified when your 3 minutes are up. You cannot yield your time to another person. At the end of the 3 minutes, please be advised that you will either be muted or I will stop reading the written comment. As in all of our meetings, please conduct yourself in a respectful and courteous manner. The board can prohibit language that is either harassing or inappropriate. For anyone whose comments or actions intend to harass, intimidate, or threaten the safety of any person, we will provide you with a warning or immediately end your comment time. In addition, if you curse, use vulgar language, or make personal attacks, we will provide you with a warning or end your comment time. After the public comment period is closed, the superintendent or her designee may address your questions to the extent provided by law. For those providing comments via phone, we request that you either mute or turn off your Facebook Live feed while you are providing comment to limit any potential feedback. And then while we are setting up those individuals who are signed up to comment via phone, I will begin reading the written comments that we received. The first written comment that we received is from Keith Benson. His comment is as follows. First, I'd like to express that our entire staff has been working in good faith and with fidelity without a contract for going on 3 years. While we understand the district is in fluctuating phases of financial difficulty, it should be noted that district staff have been doing their part. It continues to be a slap in the face of the professionals who are doing their jobs, yet are not respected enough by the district, especially the attorney's office with whom the district is contracted with to negotiate with the intent of being fair or respectful. Next, in the Urban Hope Act in that the Urban Hope Act was passed with the intent on strangling the district financially to force school closures. What is the district doing to fight this law that puts all of our survival in jeopardy? Wouldn't this be a great use of the district's budget for legal fees to fight to protect its own public schools? This isn't rhetorical. The district pays Brown and Connery a hefty sum to be its legal representation. Shouldn't Brown and Connery be put to work to help protect the very district that pays it? Lastly, for the board, the prior superintendent signed a non-binding resolution to ensure the new Camden High School returns to a traditional public school. The prior commissioner, Dr. Repillette, in a meeting with Superintendent McCombs and I, confirmed that KIPP Cooper Norcross was pre-approved for 2 high schools. One at KIPP High School at Sumner is already online, leaving one more to open at some time. Do you board members pledge to vote to keep the new Camden High School a traditional public school? All right, the next written comment is from Alicia Bird. Her comment is as follows. When the students go back into the schools, for the parents that are not comfortable with their child going back, is there still an option for remote learning? Shout out to the FOCs on such a great job that they are doing with parents. If it wasn't for them communicating, everything going above and beyond parents would be lost. Continue awesome work. Alyssa Wilds and Sheree Perry, awesome work that you are all doing at the Solution Center, helping us parents not to lose our minds. And thanks, and I appreciate you all. Much love. And finally, Canva staff is doing an awesome job keeping our students engaged with their work. Ms. Shakir needs to be Employee of the Month. Thank you, Ms. Bird. Our next comment is from Linda Brown Bartlett. Her comment is as follows. I am a proud educator in Camden City Public Schools. Educators have not only been working, but stepping up to the new challenges of remote learning without a contract. This is our 3rd year, no contract. When will the board resolve this? Additionally, as a staff member of Yorkshire Family School in Fairview, it appears our school is seldomly chosen to have programs such as the recent carnival for after-school programs, supply giveaways, etc. And our last, thank you, Ms. Brown Bartlett. Our last written comment is from Sarah Joslin. It is as follows. I did not find the October meeting agenda posted on the CCSD website an hour before the meeting. The September agenda was also not posted ahead of the meeting. It is difficult to participate if the agenda is not available to the public. Please advise whether the climate change curriculum is being implemented. At the last Camden Collaborative Initiative SMART meeting, I asked whether children and families were made aware by schools, emergency management, etc., that floodwaters from a combined storm and sewer system was dangerous for students to contact. The United Nations celebrated 75 years on Saturday, seeking peace and a better life for all people. Reminder for the Sustainable Development Goals to be included and the voice of students to be raised. Congratulations on the Stop Violence grant. Please keep children in and out of schools. Excuse me, please keep children safe in and out of schools. Thank you for your work. Thank you, Ms. Jocelyn. And with those comments completed, we will now turn to the verbal commenters.
The first commenter will be Karen Borelli-Luke. I will be admitting her now.
Thank you. Hi, Ms. Borelli-Luke.
Good evening.
Hi, thank you.
Yes.
Please start whenever you're ready.
Hi, this is Karen Borelli-Luke, Bryn Medical Arts High School, also the second VP for Camden Education Association. I just want to touch base with everybody. I'm glad to see that everybody is safe and healthy. I just wanted to report that I'm very proud of the staff and students that I see engaged in this remote learning. They're getting the hang of it, especially within my own building. I can see the students that are participating. I'm totally impressed with the attendance. And on the computer end, we are seeing that the students are getting the assistance they need with their electronics. Today, I had a meeting with Ms. McCombs, and right away, addressed an issue with a student. Totally impressed with the feedback and the communication that everybody's doing in these different times, whereas normally it would be so much easier to run to another classroom or to run to our principal, and it just makes it really difficult. But I feel everybody's getting better at this, and it's really very overwhelming emotionally to see this. I'm so proud of the staff and the students and the way that everybody's performing. Everybody's learning to connect the dots and communicate, which I'm really happy about. So I wanted to report back. It's not always just about reporting the negative. We also want to report the positive. However, I am going to echo Dr. Beebe. We do not have our contract for the third year. And I just want to say that in spite of the fact that we have not had our contract for the third year, everybody is really, really like working and giving 110%. I want everybody to realize that when we go back to the table. And I want everybody to have a good evening and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burley-Luke.
The next caller is Ms. Janelle McCray. I'll be admitting her into the meeting. Ms. McCray?
Yes.
Hi, Ms. McCray. You can start your public comment whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm here because there's a few concerns that I have. First and foremost, there was some money that was some funds distributed to the school for the COVID pandemic piece. And I was just wondering, where can I find the information as to where those resources has been dispersed to? Next, I would like to talk about the computer issue. This is an issue, even though it's 8% is still a large percent of students. I'm looking at school districts that are surrounding us, and the students are fully equipped. 100% of the students are fully equipped with equipment in the wait for students if something is to happen to it. So to have 8% of our students still without the proper equipment in the middle of this, in the middle of the first marking period, we've already passed the interim portion of first marking period. So then the question then goes to, how are we calculating their success? Because with teachers not physically being in the building, my question is, how are these students receiving supplement materials in order to keep up with the curriculum for their classes? And then I would like to also ask about our ESL population. What additional resources are we providing those students in the midst of the pandemic and being virtually online for all of their classes? And what accommodations are we making for our students who have special needs, who have IEPs that require the extra timing and the one-on-one? Are we having one-on-ones inside of the classroom with them virtually? Are they required to have extended time, being that the whole school year is virtual? What accommodations are being made for those students who have IEPs as well? Last month, I believe Ms. Ronsha Dickerson asked about acquiring apparatuses to put over top of the screens, knowing that students are now sitting in front of their computers for extended periods of time, and it can be strainful on their eyes. Is the district looking into providing each student with a screen protector so that our young eyes, our young babies, their eyes won't be damaged in the process of the pandemic? With the pandemic present, what priority was more crucial to the district that changing our guidance department around was secondary to leaving them where they were? in order to be a better service to the students. We know that a lot of our students were already stressed out. And then when you move their guidance counselor, people who they have built relationships with over the years, who they trusted, who they found security in, to have them move in the midst of the pandemic now creates those insecurities within our young people. If we were really thinking about our young people first, I just want to know what was more crucial that to make this decision in this moment, what was seen to be beneficial. With respects to re-implementing Mr. Darrell Corley in his position, I'm sorry?
Just giving you a 10-second warning, but continue because I just took.
Okay, then I'll skip that one. But lastly, there's a lot of seniors in the community who feel as though this forum, this platform that you guys are using via social media, i.e. Facebook, is cutting them off. And one of the questions that they raised was, what happened to the adoptive grandparent programs in our elementary schools, and what can happen in order to re-implement it? So I'm going to stop right there. But thank you for bringing back Darrell Corley. Hopefully he can get back to Camden High football field where he's much needed because of his expertise in maintenance of sports arena.
Thank you, Ms. McCray. And our final commenter this evening, I believe, is Sean Brown.
Yes, I will be letting him into the room. Mr. Brown?
Yes, hello.
Mr. Brown, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is healthy and happy. I just note really just one particular thing. Earlier, the superintendent referenced the long-term committee that's been meeting. If you get a chance, I would recommend that you go to the district's website, which was just updated. It looks really, really nice. And on there, if you go to community and then hit comprehensive long-term school planning and then go all the way down, you're going to see additional resources. And when you see additional resources, you'll get to see the same presentation that me and many other people who are part of the committee saw. That includes the forecast, maps, tables, and all sorts of information that's been accumulated by the firms that the district hired. Let me say that I've been through many presentations and I've been through strategic planning sessions before, including with the district, and never have I seen anything that's this detailed and comprehensive with the information that it provides. I highly recommend that people that care about student performance, school size, what schools could possibly close, to really do a good job of trying to understand the information, because when you see the information and remove emotion from nostalgia and then replace that emotion towards student performance and student academics, I think it paints a different picture what the future of the district should look like and how we should participate in it. So with that said, everyone, thank you for your time and attention. I think it's going to be an interesting few weeks with the election and other things coming up. I wish everybody success and happiness. If I could do something to support you, let me know. And if I need to lean on you, don't step away. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
That is the last caller for the evening.
Thank you, Tanya. That was really good. Thank you, Mr. Brown. And with that, I will turn it back over to the superintendent.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, for your input, for your insight, for your questions, for pressure testing, for asking the tough questions, and also for acknowledging the successes of our district. Really appreciate it, because we know that we will not be able to be the best that we can for our students without the engagement from the community and without the questions that are being asked. So again, I want to say thank you, and I sincerely appreciate your input. So again, I tried to group responses by theme as much as possible to just make sure that I'm not being repetitive. I'll start with CEA contract negotiations. So I want to say thank you, and I mean it. I really mean it, and I echo the sentiments shared by everyone. I think Dr. Benson, Ms. Borelli, and also Ms. Brown Bartlett, Dr. Brown Bartlett, sharing how our teachers are going above and beyond the call of duty during this remote learning period. I cannot underscore that enough. And so I want you to know that I thank you, and we thank you for just everything that you're doing as educators. We too, as a district, are eager to finalize and close out the CEA contract negotiations process that has been in the works for 3 years. And so amongst many things, the negotiations were delayed partially by the pandemic. And I will stop here with that, as I am unfortunately unable to make any comments specifically with regard to the pending negotiations. But please know that the spirit of this district, myself and my team, is to make sure that we are able to complete the process of contract negotiations as quickly as possible. You have that commitment. With regard to the new Camden High School campus, I know there continue to be concerns and questions about whether or not the new Camden High School campus will be a traditional public school district or something else, specifically Renaissance Charter. And I want to underscore again that the new Camden High campus is a traditional district school, and we will remain as a traditional district school. And I am answering that as the state superintendent of the district. I know that the question was posed to board members, so I'm not responding on behalf of the advisory board, but I am responding to say that all plans, all negotiations with SDA, the Schools Development Authority, all conversations that have been had, we are still on track for this to be the replacement school for my alma mater, which I graduated from in 1987, Camden High School, period. Now, again, I understand where questions come from. I understand there may still be mistrust, but I'm not trying to argue with that. I am trying to say that we are on track, as I shared in the presentation, for our current 4 high schools, with the exception of Woodrow Wilson, to move right into the new Camden High, which will help us with sustainability. So then those buildings can be taken offline and we can do something that's going to be useful with them moving forward. That's why the long-term school planning process is so very important. So it's not, so everyone can weigh in. So again, Camden High School will remain a traditional district school. Let me see. Okay, I don't have to repeat that again. I was going to go back. I'm not going to go there again. Next question, Ms. Bird. Ms. Leisha Bird had a question about return to school. You had a few different questions. Thank you for acknowledging the hard work, excuse me, of our FOCs. They are definitely the connector between home and school, especially during this pandemic. So again, thank you for such a good and critical question regarding return to school and remote learning. When the district returns to in-person learning, families who are uncomfortable returning to in-person learning will absolutely have the opportunity to continue with remote learning. So again, want to make sure that that is clear. There were some questions that came up also with regard to curriculum. We currently address climate change in our environmental and earth science curriculums. I believe Ms. Jocelyn brought this question up. We also incorporate topics around climate in our middle and family school science classes. The state required districts to become familiar with the new standards during the current school year and begin implementing them over the next 2 school years. We update our curriculum annually to include any revisions to standards or content as identified by the State Department of Education. We will be implementing climate change during our annual curriculum updates for the 21-22 school year in alignment with these state mandates. With regard to varied supports for students, Ms. McCray, thank you for the list of questions that you asked, all very important. You asked several critical questions. I will try my best to address each one of them here. Regarding students who don't yet have a device, students are receiving support from their teachers via phone, text, and paper packets, as I shared in the presentation. Is that optimal? Absolutely not. But also, as I shared, we want to partner and work together with families so that we can get the laptops that devices that we have to parents as we are waiting for the shipment to come in. Our ELL population is receiving language assistance services from our bilingual and ESL teachers. The instructional resources utilized in the bilingual and ESL classes are digital and available in both English and Spanish. Services and IEPs are being implemented virtually. If a student has a one-on-one in the IEP requiring a one-on-one aid, that service is provided virtually because we have our paraprofessionals still working. That one-to-one works with the student virtually. So we are meeting the needs of our students in the best way possible through the virtual platform by ensuring we're adhering to the IEP guidelines, stipulations. Regarding the screen protectors, you brought up also the screen protectors for students that Ms. Dickerson brought up at last month's board meeting. We are prioritizing getting devices first into the hands of every student who needs one. However, we will look into options to provide screen protectors for our students. So thank you for revisiting that question again. Regarding the concern about guidance counselors, I do agree with your sentiment wholeheartedly that every building should have at least one counselor. I agree with that. However, the need to have to split counselors is very much aligned to the district's budget. If you remember, during our May board meeting, we presented our budget for the 2021 school year. At that meeting, there were a number of staffing actions that had to occur, guidance counselors being one of them. We are hopeful that as we engage in our long-term planning process, that we will be able to ensure that every school will have all the most appropriate resources needed to be successful. And that does include a guidance counselor in each building. Let me just go to some of the others to make sure I've answered everything. Bear with me one moment. Okay. All right. And thank you, Mr. Brown, for your feedback on our long-term school planning process. It is in the works, and we are definitely looking forward to continuing to move it forward. And so again, thank you for your questions and your feedback. This type of accountability helps us to always work to improve, to continuously improve our practices. And we want to also thank all of our public speakers again for your input. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to our board president, who can open up the floor to see if our board members have any questions at this time.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. And at this time, are there any board members that have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Vice President, Mr. Nelson.
Sure, a couple quick things. Thank you, Superintendent, for that report. And thank you, Board President. So just echoing some things, I'd like to start off by saying I would like to say thank you to all the staff, parents, guardians, and students for their hard work and efforts during these challenging times and becoming familiar with remote learning. Special shout out to FOCs, I know they were mentioned, who may have had extra responsibilities added, and we appreciate you. And just speaking to several FOCs, if we could just check in and just make sure they're good, I think that would be a great thing as well. Also, I know it was mentioned in the presentation. I would like to give a shout out to all the schools that recently hosted the Fall Boost Carnivals, promoting the after school programs, being able to attend a few of them along with other board members. They were very involved and were very welcoming to parents and students. So thank you. Quick question. I don't know if we spoke about this. I know we have spoke about the long-term school planning, which incorporates this, but where do we presently stand with closing a financial gap and a request for emergency funding? If there are any updates in reference to that at all. Also, at one point we had outstanding bills. Have we caught up with all those outstanding bills to date? Committee. So our advisory board meets. We have committees, which is great. Being able to talk and discuss different things. I don't know if at what point maybe our committees, and again, it may not be this board meeting, but where our committees could report out and share some of the things that are discussed so that the community is aware as well of the things being talked about and how you're being represented. Next, I know it was spoke about the Chromebooks. You spoke about Chromebooks as well as Janelle mentioned Chromebooks. I think it may be helpful as one of our board members, Naima, brought up, and a question was spoken about in our committees in reference to the Chromebooks. Can you just give a quick explanation on why there was a need to order so many more Chromebooks? So I know, again, it doesn't take the place of what we still have to obtain to make sure we, close that gap so everybody does have access. But, I do think it is helpful having some of that information so it doesn't appear as if we just weren't prepared. Again, that's not an excuse. It doesn't take the place of what we need. But, I think sometimes giving a little bit more information may, help out a little bit. And then lastly, does the grant that we received, the $750,000 grant towards security, does that allow for more staff to be added to the present security team? Or is that just for training?
Great
and that
question.
concludes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else of the board members have any question, comment, concern? I think I see the hand of Naima Gillespie.
Thank you, Board President. I want to say thank you to Vice President Nelson for always staying the task. I know I asked that question probably about 2 weeks ago, and you're still on it. So I appreciate you. Madam Superintendent, I wanted to ask about the process for us to get back into school. Are we still working on that? Have we kind of put it to the side right now? But I know that's important for us to stay on track with that, just to ensure our student safety when we do return. Vice President Nelson hit it on the head for me for the Chromebook question, and I want to make sure it was nothing else that I'm missing. I think that was all, so I'm done.
Thank you, Sister Naima. Anyone else? I think Falio had his hand up.
Mr. Custis.
Custis, I'm sorry, I can't see it. Thank you.
Mr. Falio had his hand up first, so I'll let him go and then I'll go after him. I apologize.
You can go ahead, Elton. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Superintendent, for that report. By the Vice President, thank you so much just for all of the amazing work that you have been doing and keeping us abreast of what's going on and reporting back to us. But I do just want to bring to attention that Ms. Janelle McCray asked about the COVID relief funding, and we heard no reply on how to get that information to see where that funding actually went to. And that's all I had.
And Mr. Falio.
Yep. So first of all, I just wanted to start off by thanking, like many others, thanking our staff for how hard you guys are working with all of our students across the city. I see the work happening, and I really appreciate it as a parent. I really see the hard work that you guys are putting in. But I wanted to move on to Chromebooks, which a lot of people have asked about. My question is, what policies are we putting in place to make sure that we don't fall into the same situation we were in this time. Being the fact that we are in this situation because I think folks did not return them. And I think that was one of the reasons, but what are we putting in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And also wanted to kind of voice on, I know somebody called about ESL or ELL. I know that the district has partnered up within schools to make sure that we're reaching out to a lot of the families that are bilingual to get them the remote access or the remote help that they're not getting or that they need. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that I know the district is doing that, but I really wanted to get some information about the Chromebooks, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Falio. And I believe that's it of the board. I think I'll close it out. Great question, fellow team members. I want to start, Superintendent. Some of the questions you asked, you answered already, but I want to know more about, you mentioned mind shift, and there's a lot of concern in the community about when they run into technical issues with their children, with their Chromebooks and other sources of technology. Is the access to mind shift, is it getting better? Because I know there was challenges, and I know it's going to be challenges because of the fact that this is an all remote learning district, as well as other districts around with the technology issues. But how's mind shift responding? If you can give us an update on mind shifts that the concerns that parents had. Also, some of the parents that I spoke to are concerned about our children with special needs that usually go out and get out of the district placement in other places, where as though those students that have certain types of special needs, are those outreaches still going on even though the district is remote? Are they able to get out? Because I know some of that is just healthy for those type of students that may have certain type of special needs. And that was one of the questions there too as well. And third, I just wanted to talk, third was, that's it with my question, but third, ma'am, is I just want to send a shout out and keep our prayers with Miss board member, Miss Whitby, who is not here, who was had some concerns that we know about. Let's keep her in our prayers. She's okay, but we just want to keep her in our prayers with us as a fellow board member and community, because she has served our community for the past several months, doing a great job. And also, I just want to send a reminder to our parents, our families, and our friends, and everyone listening about continue to social distance in our community. It's very important, as we're talking about one of the questions I believe someone of the board asked about, what are the plans of planning to get back to school. We know that what we can do as a community is do our part of social distancing, wearing masks, being clean, cleaning our neighborhoods, cleaning our home environments. All of that can stop the spread of COVID-19, because, it will really be devastating, to have our children continue to miss some of the social, emotional learning that they get with in-person learning, as we safely talk about coming back together as a community. And I think with the spikes going up around, the country, and New Jersey in particular, that we as a community continue to be mindful of that. And what can we do to play our part in making sure that we can stop or slow down the spread of COVID-19. So with that, thank you. And I believe that's it. Is there someone else? That's it. Thank you. Is it Karen? Ms. Maris?
So
Mr. Vice President Nelson has his hand.
I apologize, just real quick. I know Keith Benson had a question that he asked, and I know the superintendent responded, not for the board, as far as the board members supporting keeping Camden High a traditional public school. So I can't speak for everybody else, but I am in favor and support of keeping Camden High a traditional public school.
Yeah, thank you, Vice President Nelson. And I think the question was really concerned into the boards of those other school types. And also, you know, hopefully we can work on as a district, as you don't hear too much talk about now about returning to local control, for whatever reason that is. But however, to vote, and we don't have that capacity. I believe that was what the question was. We don't have that capacity. But you know, I have said it and over again throughout the years that I've been here. Camden High School is a very special high school to many of us as the class of 1986, and moral support and any kind of support we put towards Camden High School. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Board President, and to the advisory board members. Thank you for your input. Board President Mohammed shared, you know, local control as one of his last statements. And I just want to make sure it's clear that's still our goal. And that's why we're working so hard to get the fiscal side of the house in order, because again, there are 5 components that the state looks at when it comes to granting local control back to a state intervention, a state operated district. One has to do with ensuring that the governance is in place. We're above 80% and at that area, so we're fine. One has to do with personnel. We're 80% and above, that's fine. One of them has to do with operations, where 80% or above, that's fine. The 2 areas that as a state operated district we have to work on to get local control back are instruction and programming, which means improving student achievement, as well as finances. And so that is why we're so critically working toward transforming our finance office, so that once local return comes back, once we return, to local control, then the board will not be advisory, it will be a voting board again. So that is why it is so very critical that we are pushing one another, that you are holding me accountable, that we hold each other accountable, because that's going to ensure that we are no longer a state operated district. I would love to see us go back to local control. So one that is steady, stable, and sustainable. And so we are closer than we have ever been before at getting there. But again, it takes us continuing to push and to become our best selves in this work in order for that to happen, with our students at the heart of every decision that we make. So I just wanted to say that because you're right, President Wasim, we don't speak specifically a lot about what is it going to take to get to local control. And that's a goal. Local control is our goal. I put that on my PowerPoint presentations when I'm talking to principals, et cetera. That is our goal. And so what we need to do is to get those 2 areas up and above 80%, and then we can transition back to local control. And so I want to—
And particularly, Madam Superintendent, I was speaking about the community. I know your work that you do in the staff and the teaching staff and your staff there at the central office is constantly working towards that goal. I can see you all working every day. I just wanted to make that clear. That's good.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And it has an impact. Local control means a lot for the community. So thank you. Looking at the comments, I want to try to go in the right order, but I think I might not, so forgive me. I'm going to start with Board President Mohammed and go down in that direction. So you asked also, you had a question, a concern with regard to mind shift and wanting to know, is it getting better? As we are learning lessons and being in this remote environment, and as Mindshift is also growing as a consultant that we work with and adapting to the high volume of demands, you wanted to know whether or not things are getting better. And so we are working with Mindshift on a daily basis. And I mean that. I have an example where I was one of our principals, I was meeting with them today, and they shared with me that a parent had been informed that it would take 3 months for a device to be repaired. And so I just asked, like, what is going on? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. In 3 months, we'll have enough devices for everyone 2 times over. And so we were able to dig in and find out, and there was a mistake made. I don't know if it was a communication issue with the parent, but that time was zeroed out, and it was the situation was taken care of. So it's incidents like those where we learn that maybe there are some bigger issues. And so as we're resolving those challenges, we're making sure that we're giving feedback to Mindshift to ensure that they're getting better as well. So Mindshift has added additional staff to their roster and is working to hire more Spanish-speaking personnel to support our families. So it's getting better, but it's not where we need it. It's getting better, but it's not where we want it to be. So it is continuing to move in the right direction, but we are providing the feedback, the expectations that are necessary so that we can make sure that things are resolved quickly. And that is why it's important for school leaders, our team, tech team, and Mindshift to make sure that we're all working together to resolve any issues. And so that's with regard to Mindshift. Out of district special ed were you talking about out of district special ed placements, Board President? You said parents were asking if—
Yes, those children that would normally really go out and get some of the educational services, like certain type of classifications of special need children, not the, okay.
Yes, we still have our out of district placements. They are still being transported to those sites, and we're still paying the tuition for those, and they can be seen in the finance reports and the resolutions. Specifically tonight, you'll see quite a few resolutions that are related to the tuition that we are paying to Bancroft and so many others. Those services are still being provided to our special needs students.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I want to make sure I address all your questions. Okay, all right. And we will definitely keep Ms. Whidbey in our thoughts and our prayers. I want to go to Vice President Nelson. You had several questions, and I want to take the time to kind of address as many as I can in this setting, and hopefully I'll be able to address all of them. One question: where do we stand with closing the financial gap and emergency funding? So where we stand this month is very similar to where we stood last month. So I think I did share that the first priority was for us to transform our business office team so that we can gain more confidence with the department, and that I have more confidence in the numbers that are being provided. So we have done that. We have shared exactly where we are with regard to our last year deficit, where we ended, and also this year's any trending deficit that's occurring because of a pullback in state aid or other areas that we talked about previously. So we have provided that information to the Department of Education. We did meet with the Department of Education on Friday. My team and I met with them, and we were very transparent again with where we are. And we got the commitment from the Department of Education verbally that they are going to support Camden and ensure that we will have what's needed. Specifically, of course, I'm asking for a commitment of how much money are you going to provide with regard to that support? And we were told that that money, we will be provided that information as we continue to work together. However, it was also shared with us that there are a few additional pots of money that will be coming the district's way that will be able to support us, but not meet completely the deficit. But in a good faith effort, the department is sharing that they are looking at Camden and providing opportunities for grants, et cetera, to help to support us as we move along. So there are a few sources there. I know $604,000 or so with regard to providing funding for Alyssa's Law and installing panic devices on doors that may not have them. We won't have to go into our general fund coffers to do that because of this grant funding. Also, we did receive an additional $720,000 in coronavirus relief funding. That was in addition to our CARES Act funding, and we are able to utilize that also to offset our general fund balance. And additionally, we received we are we're told that we will receive $1.7 million, which is also additional monies related to the ESSER grant relief funds. And those funds will also be used in compliance with the grant guidelines. But what we do is we try our best to offset general fund expenditures by using these grant funds. And so again, we are continuously working with the department. And I only share those buckets of money because do they equate to the total deficit? No, but as the department is working with us and gaining that confidence, we are being provided with funding sources. We are continuing to advocate to make sure that we get a final answer, not individually, but collectively with our elected officials, so that we will have the funds that are necessary. So I know that's not we didn't get the check written yet, but we are in better standing with regard to the department being confident in our numbers, and also with regard to us being able to receive some additional award money on the way to getting what we need. And so we will continue to work and continue to show that we can be good stewards of everything that is provided to us as a district. Excuse me. Also, you asked a question, emergency funding. You asked a question about where we are with emergency funding. And so we were told that emergency aid is an option for the district in this new year. I know I shared with you that last year, our emergency aid request that we submitted for $44 million was denied. However, in this new fiscal year, we were informed that we are available and eligible to apply for emergency aid again. So once we get the guidance on that application process, what it looks like, what the requirements are, then we can move forward with that application process. And we will keep you informed as we go along the way. Another question, have we caught up with all outstanding bills? Our interim BA is not with us right now, but with regard to our bills and the bill list, if you take a look at the bill list that you see each month, we have done a great job in cleaning up many of the areas that were outstanding. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up my bill list right now. We are averaging about $4 million a month in our bill list, $4 to $5 million a month in our payment of bills. And so as we stay on track and as we keep a focused eye on our cash flow projections and where we are month to month, we are seeing that we don't have as many vendors that are complaining as we did before, and we are paying those bills that are necessary. And so yes, we are in better standing with our vendors and the payment of our outstanding bills. Can committees report out and discuss with the community? So that is one of the things that we are very excited about, is that we do have our committees that have been meeting. We hope to get those meetings more regular and consistent, but there's great work that's being reported up to me that's happening in our committees. And so I believe, I don't want to put you on the spot, Sam, but I believe if you have anything to add, you can feel free to jump in, that after we developed a consistency with regard to our meeting times, then we would move forward with looking at integrating report outs into the board meeting, because that's the goal, for the community to be able to see that advisory board members have been working outside of board meetings, asking the tough questions, and that you can come back with a report. Any input there, Sam, that would be helpful?
No, nothing additional to add, but yeah, I think that's the goal, is to have the committees report out at board meetings, so we can start figuring out, when would be appropriate to add those in.
Okay, so we'll take that back and get more specific and definitive. I have a conversation with the board president as well to see what time frame would work. But that would be awesome and excellent. That's our goal. You also asked Vice President Nelson about, give an explanation why it was needed to order so many Chromebooks. Want to ensure we're not perceived as being unprepared. So that's a very good question. So we have, there are a few buckets and I'll try to explain this as succinctly as I possibly can, where that required us to order more Chromebooks. So let me go back really quickly. Back in March, we were able to get donations, philanthropic donations, in order to make sure that all of our high school students had Chromebooks. And then we were also able to make sure that with our title funding, we were able to get Chromebooks for our K through 8th grade students as well. And so in doing that, we found that when our seniors graduated, we will do a better job moving forward, but one of the things that we should have done is withheld their diplomas. And some schools did withhold high school diplomas from students who did not turn in their Chromebooks, but other schools were a little bit more lax and released diplomas, even though students did not return their Chromebook. So that is a tough lesson that we had to learn. Going through this the first time, never having experienced a pandemic before, it's not an excuse, but that is exactly what the case was. So we had about 200 or so devices that were not returned from our high school students. Then we had approximately, and that number goes up day to day, approximately, and I don't have my tracker up, but we have approximately 125 to 135 in that range, devices that are broken. And so when devices are broken, if they're broken beyond the ability to use them, of course, those devices have to be turned back in, and then we have to either reissue a device or those students are on hold until their device is repaired. So that's about another 125 to 135. We also had 15 devices that were stolen as a result of a break-in. And I shared that at the last board meeting at Brim High School, where we were housing some of our devices. CCPD was, Camden County Police was involved. There was surveillance, all of that. And so we did track down the person who did it, but there were 15 devices that were stolen. And so that cut into what we were able to have. And so again, these are areas where we found ourselves with less devices than we needed, which caused us to we needed more devices than we had, which caused us to have to put in an order for 550 additional devices, because in addition to just replacement devices, we want to make sure that we just have extra devices available so that if a child breaks a device, instead of us waiting for a repair, we can just exchange out the device for a broken device and then still have that broken device repaired, but at least it does not interrupt the continuity of instruction. So that is also why there are extra devices that were necessary. We had to build in that cushion or buffer in ordering devices. And there was another question, and it wasn't here, but I think someone else asked it, and forgive me for not remembering who, but with regard to policy. So we do have a policy that was presented at a previous board meeting with regard to a remote instruction policy, as well as our Chromebook and devices distribution policy. So we do have policies in place where we are, so some of the things in our policies, and I will lead out, and if there's anything that I say that's incorrect, Sam, please feel free to jump in. It's fine, because I'm not a one-person show. But this idea of policy and enforcing policy, so we have policy that says that if a device is stolen, that parents have to provide a police report, and then we will be able to give a new device. So we've had devices that have been stolen from homes as well. We also have in our policy, if a device is broken, then the parent, beyond repair, then the parent has to pay to replace the device. The average device of a Chromebook is between $200, $250. So again, we have the policy in place, but I am very, very, I can't find my words right now, but we have the policy in place. We can enforce the policy, yes, but if our parents are not able to afford to replace a device in a pandemic when many of them are already strained because of what we're going through. We can't just leave the child without because the parent can't pay for it. So that is in our policy, but I cannot fully 100% enforce it, and I will not, because that would mean that children who have no control over their circumstances or their parents' financial circumstances would be without a device. That does not mean we don't try to collect, but we don't, we just don't. And we've had this conversation with the Department of Education, and they understand it too, and want us to really be very careful in this area. We cannot demand that if a parent does not replace a device with money, that their child will never get a new device. And so we end up having some families have had multiple devices that have been broken. Because some families have multiple children in school, not because we're saying families are just breaking devices on purpose. So again, there are a lot of nuances here because there's a digital divide period, and we cannot compare ourselves to other school districts, especially school districts where parents may have the means to purchase devices themselves. We can be better stewards of what we do have, and we have learned some lessons like withholding diplomas, which we should have been more stronger in enforcing. But we are learning, and we are trying our best to make sure that we're able to do a better job with our Chromebooks.
And thank you, Madam Superintendent, for being sensitive to the needs of our community. I appreciate that.
No problem. And then the other piece of that has to do with the back order, and I've already talked about that, so I won't say it again from Dell.
Superintendent.
Yeah, President Mohammed, I'm sorry, President Mohammed, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I was the person who asked the question about policies, and my question wasn't to add anything to a parent that cannot afford to pay back a Chromebook. But what I said about policies and coming up with different ideas is, how about adding a program to the Chromebook that blocks the Chromebook, that people can't use it if they don't return it. Those are the things that I'm saying that maybe we can come up with. It's not charging people for the Chromebook. It's coming up with other options that can kind of guarantee us the Chromebook coming back.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for making that distinction. Very helpful. Oh, I'm sorry, President.
Thank you, Fabio, for making that clear. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for that distinction. And I believe I had Tiffany Godet on the line too. I'm going to call on, and I don't do this often, but because you have been working so closely with technology, do we have that in response to Board Member Martinez's question, Labor Martinez's question, do we have that ability on our devices to just shut them down remotely for those that haven't been returned?
Yes, Superintendent McCombs, we absolutely do. We've purchased software that allows us to actually put a message on the screen of the devices to tell students that it's the property of Camden City School District, and it gives them the address and a phone number that they can contact us to return those devices. And we've actually received 3 devices in the mail. So we do have that policy, we do have it active, and but that's what we've done with those devices.
And overall, out of the devices that high school students did not return, I know a few weeks ago we were seeing more students bring them back. What's that number looking like?
We have approximately 95 devices that have not been returned by high school students.
Okay.
And also from students that have been transferred out of district, there's a number of devices that haven't been returned as well from that population.
Got it. And so as you can see, we definitely have lots of lessons to learn in this area. I'm very transparent with it, but our teams have been working very diligently just to make sure we can do whatever possible to get devices into the hands of our students. And those areas that, again, I said that we need to address, we won't repeat those. We will learn from those areas that we need to and make the process better moving forward. But appreciate everyone's questions. Minister, do you have your hand up, Board Member Gillespie? Minister Wasim, is it okay for Board Member Gillespie to jump in?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, guys. Is there a tracking system on the Chromebooks?
Okay, Tiffany, jump right in.
Because of the technology that's necessary to track them, which is called geofencing, it made the Chromebooks a little bit out of our price range, but we were able to put in the tracking software in a sense where we're able to see what they're doing on the Chromebook. That's called Go Guardian. So the teachers are able to see what they're doing on there and to shut down tabs if they're not doing the right thing. And then we're able to determine the neighborhood that they're in because of the IP address when they log into Google. So we're able to use that information to kind of geolocate where a device is. But as far as like just GPS tracking, like a cell phone, we don't have that available on our Chromebooks. But we do have the ability, like I said earlier, to turn them off and make them useless to a user when they are in the property of someone that is not one of our students.
Okay. Is there a possible way we can kind of get like a team? Like if we have addresses for the 95 that are missing from seniors, are we having somebody check in, kind of do a house check or anything like that to retrieve them?
Yes, our FOCs have gone door to door. So we have done everything possible to get the devices back within our control. And so, but yes, that area we have. That's a great suggestion, but our FOCs are constantly calling and even going door to door to pick up devices. Okay. All right. So we will continue to make sure that we work to ensure that we have a culture of one-to-one technology devices, and we're not having to wait for an emergent situation like a pandemic to provide devices to all 6,000 of our students in the district. Okay, thank you so much and appreciate your feedback and your questions there. And look forward to even possibly in committees, maybe there are other ways to come up with some other ideas in committee meetings that would help for recommendations to myself and my team. Another question had to do with, does the Department of Justice grant allow for more staff to be added, or is it for training only? I can look into that. Most of the grant guidelines had to do with training, restorative justice practices, but we can look into that and get back. And I'm taking the time, I know my team is weighing in here, I'm taking the time to answer these questions because there were quite a few specific questions that were asked. And so I'm gonna do my best to try to answer them and steer clear of anything that would be the security issues. Okay, in favor of keeping CHS as a traditional public school, thank you. You shared that, that's all that needs to be said. Mr. Martinez, we addressed your question about policies and we'll continue to work on those. Mr. Custis, where is the COVID relief funding? So the question that was asked by Ms. McCray, the original CARES Act funding that we utilize, we have been utilizing that funding for technology, for also for filtration, MERV 9, MERV 11 filtration devices, filters, in order to upgrade and get our buildings ready with the ventilation that's necessary to ensure everyone is safe coming back to the buildings. And we also utilize that funding for any programs that were necessary to ensure that achievement gap is addressed based on the pandemic as well. Transportation is another area. So the COVID relief funding did not have as many strict parameters on it because there were so many areas that school districts needed to use it for in response to the pandemic. And so again, that's just a high level view of where the COVID relief funding went. What is the process for getting back to school? So we have to, of course, ensure that we are able to provide a safe environment, that we have taken care of all of the HVAC and filtration issues in our buildings, and also that we have staff, enough staff members who don't request accommodation to ensure our buildings can be staffed efficiently, as well as making sure that we follow the guidance provided by the Department of Ed and also the County Health Department. And so we are definitely working to get our students and staff back in school as soon as we possibly can. Right now, of course, we know that the rates of COVID are going up, not only across the world, but across the country, and Camden City has the highest numbers of COVID cases. And we've seen schools, multiple schools, charter schools had to close that have opened up because of the high cases of COVID in the city. And so we want to make sure that we're not doing anything to negatively add to community spread. So again, what other surrounding districts in the county may be doing, we have to also look through the lens of the numbers that are in our area, Camden having the highest numbers of COVID cases in the county, and also how tough we are hit as communities of color when COVID cases are in our areas. And so, yes, though, to your question, we are still preparing on a daily basis for our staff members and students to come back just as soon as we can get them back safely. And I believe I may have answered, yes, I think we're all finished with the questions. So I want to take this opportunity now to thank everyone for your comments. And again, I did take the time to answer those questions because I want to make sure that the advisory board members get their questions addressed. And so at this time, if there are no more questions, I'll turn the meeting over to the board secretary, who our general counsel is serving in that stead, to present the business office items at this time for approval.
Thank you. I present the business office agenda items for approval. Are there any questions from the board members on the business office agenda items?
Any questions from any board members about the business agenda? Because if you raising the flag, your hand, I can't see it from my board. Okay.
I don't see any.
I don't see any questions.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. If there are no more questions with regard to those items, then at this time, in accordance with the powers vested in the state district superintendent under Title 18A, I hereby approve today's superintendent's agenda items and business office agenda items. I'll turn it back to Sam in order to close this out for adjournment.
Great. At this time, I call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
I think I missed who made that. Can you make it a motion again?
Don't either.
Go ahead.
No. All right. Was that? Can I have a second?
Second.
Second. Oh.
Motion to adjourn the meeting was made by Vice President Nelson and was seconded by Ms. Gillespie. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. All right, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night, all.
Have a
Good
great
night.
evening. Be
Stay
safe.
safe.